to Culture on I-24 News. I'm Oded Grober. Thanks for joining me. Today on our show, Brazilian singer Veronica Ferriani will be here in the studio. A Palestinian photographer overcomes disability. And a new Israeli series sheds light on a major divide in Israeli culture. Veronica Ferriani is a singer from Sao Paulo, Brazil. She recently toured South America, Russia, and Japan as part of the New Voices of Brazil program designed to showcase contemporary Brazilian music. And now she's here in Israel for a show on the 31st of October at the Ozen Bar in Tel Aviv. Earlier, we had the pleasure of hosting her here in the studio. Here's our conversation. Thanks for coming in, Veronica.
Thank you for inviting me.
So how did this come to be? You visiting Israel, you doing music. Let's go back.
Okay, I'm here for a very important program in Brazil, which is bringing some important voices of new generation to all countries over the world. So we are coming here for I'm here for the first time, and I'm very happy to be here to sing for you. And my music, I began singing when I was a child, but actually I'm an architect. And then I started singing. I was graduated as an architect, and then I started singing, and my career started to flow well, and that's why I'm here now.
That's lovely. I mean, music is obviously a huge part of Brazilian life, and I'm sure you experienced it as a child. How come you only got back to it later in life?
Yes, my parents are so connected to music. I hear music and old music in Brazil, traditional music in Brazil since I was a child. This is my foundation. And then I started composing. I started doing my old stuff and with my generation. And this is what is about my last album, which is the one that I'm bringing here now. Now,
you mentioned that this rich tradition.
Yes.
Is it difficult for new voices in Brazil to come out, to do something new musically?
Not now. Exactly now, we have a very nice generation proposing and lots of new rhythms and new stuff. We have this freedom, I think. As long as we are in a new time, we don't need anymore the biggest labels to make our songs come to people. So we have this freedom, and we are using it, but surely we have a generation before us, which inclusive was very important for Brazilian music to become as respected as it is.
So you were still building on that.
Yes, we're still, but now we're bringing something different.
Last year you released your album, the first album that you wrote also completely. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yes, I wrote all the songs and the lyrics of this album. It's new for me. It was new for me, not anymore. Now I'm releasing also 2 singles, a double single this month in Brazil. It was natural. I played the guitar since I was a child, and I like to write since I was a child. And suddenly they became together and in a free relation. So that's why. And I wanted to talk, to say some things myself. I had some things I wanted to say, and I couldn't find in another's.
So you're bringing something new to the table.
I think so. I think so.
Now, the younger generation in Brazil these days, as far as you can tell, do they listen more to local music or Western music in English, or?
Everything. Nowadays, we really can't forget how easy it is to listen to all over the world's music.
Right.
So I listen to American, to English, to African, to Latin music, because Brazilian music, some people confuse Brazilian music with Latin music. It's different. It's pretty different. And we are, right now, we are very close to Latin music.
Yeah.
But it changed.
Yeah.
So that's why we listen to everything, I can say. And we keep, as Brazil has a lot of traditional songs and music, a lot of kinds of music, we keep listening.
There is a big variety, no doubt about that.
Yes.
Now, you're performing in Israel. You were actually, in a way, you're representing Brazil in your performance here.
Yes, that's why I'm here.
Is that some pressure?
No, it's not, because I'm just a part of it, and I'm doing my best.
I'm sure it'll be great.
Yes.
You're performing with local talent, with Yael Deckelbaum.
Yes,
How was that connection made?
I'm so happy that she's going to be on the show, because I just knew her job, her music,
right?
Yes, some months ago, and I fall in love completely. She has a wonderful voice and nice music, nice songs. So I didn't know her. Danielle, which is the producer that brought me here, showed me some artists. I always like to know what's happening in the country I'm going to, and I fell in love with Yael. That's why I invited her, and she accepted. I'm sure the combination
will be phenomenal. What are you going to sing for us today? We convinced you to sing something. What are you going to sing?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to sing for you a song of mine, which is called Ele Não Volta Mais. He's not coming back anymore.
He's not coming back. All right. I hope you'll come back after all. Veronica, thank you so much.
Thank you, Adan.
Não pense muito, ele não volta atrás. Não volta mais. Não pense muito, ele não volta atrás. Ele não. Mata fome por dentro, como morresse fácil, como não fosse vício, desperdício bem querer. Mas vou seguir inevitavelmente, me repara do lado negro um desalento, outro escuta o vento, algum desprendimento, norte pra qualquer lugar. Afinal, quantos sinais em cada situação, cenas de drama e ciúme virando costume, eu some, eu assumo, essa era a minha condição.
In 2006, Palestinian photographer Osama Silwadi was crippled by gunfire from Palestinian gunmen. It ended his career as a war correspondent, but the photographer has found a new calling, documenting his people's heritage. Here it is.
It's been almost a decade since Palestinian photographer Osama Silwadi was seriously wounded by stray bullets fired by Palestinian gunmen. 2 bullets tore through his stomach, rupturing his spleen and shattering his spine. Silwari had 15 years of experience covering the violence of the first and second intifadas against Israel.
When I woke up from the coma, the doctor told me that I would never walk again. I told him I know that, but I said I would walk again.
Silwari is now 40 and father of 3 girls. He remains hopeful that one day he will walk again, but he has not let his disability get in the way of his passion for photography.
The injury didn't stop me, and despite the wheelchair, I'm working even better than before my accident.
Since the incident, Silwari helped setting up the Palestinians' first ever digital archive, collecting pictures and video clips of the life and work of the late Yasser Arafat. His quality work earned him a job with UNESCO as an expert consultant on digital archiving. For Silwari, documenting Palestinian cultural heritage goes hand in hand with the question of Palestinian identity and the future of the Palestinian people. Silwari's mission goes beyond just an ordinary job. He considers what he does a national duty, and therefore his work has won praise from many corners, including from specialists on the Palestinian cultural heritage. His latest work, a book on traditional Palestinian architecture, was published in September. It's called The Revelation of Stones. The book is filled with images of traditional homes, crumbling walls, overrun with vegetation, around grand old houses that were abandoned during the violence of the 2 uprisings.
Now, writer and cultural commentator Amalia Rosenblum is joining me in the studio. Hi, Amalia.
Hi, Oded.
We're going to be talking about a new documentary series by Ron Kachlili that in Hebrew it's called Arsim and Frechot, which is kind of hard to translate. I guess the best I can do is greasers and bimbos or something of the like.
Yeah, exactly. These are derogatory terms for Mizrahi men, Arsim and Frechot for Mizrahi women. And
right, and this is creating some controversy,
well,
not very surprising.
Exactly. I mean, yes, every few years, the issue of the tensions between Mizrahi identity and culture and Ashkenazi identity and culture comes up.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because it's been an issue since the early days of Zionism, but just to make sure that we're all on the same page, when we say Ashkenazi Jews, right, we mean Jews in Israel whose ethnicity is construed as European, and when we say Mizrahi, we mean Jews who immigrated to Israel from Arab countries.
And that divide is an age-old one.
Exactly,
as
yeah. In the early days, well, let me just say that we're talking about Ron Kachlili's new documentary series because it is trying to add something new to the discussion, because historically it's been a discussion of suppression, racism, stereotypes, and I think what we're seeing here is a different take on that. I think Kachlili is trying to celebrate Mizrahi identity, and in the series we see all sorts of public figures who are embracing their Mizrahi identity and looking with defiance at the Ashkenazi gaze, which they find to be, colonizing or sort of.
Yeah, but as you said, this has been going on for years and years, and every few years it comes to the forefront and then disappears a little bit, but it's always there.
Yeah, so you're right. We should go back to the early days of Zionism and say just a little bit about that, because in the early days of Zionism, what we all know is that Zionists in Israel tried to create a new man.
Right.
And this new man was constructed in opposition to actually 2 different identities. We all know that this ideal was constructed in opposition to the diaspora Jew, the Ashkenazi Jew, who was portrayed as, studying Torah and leading a spiritual life, weak, exactly, independent, and so the Israeli man was supposed to be a person of physical labor, but not really a Mizrahi Jew either. So there was another opposition. This ideal person was also constructed in contrast with the Mizrahi Jew, and that Mizrahi Jew, that caricature or stereotype, was someone who was thought of as being illiterate, whose customs seemed primitive, and was also construed as more religious.
Yeah, and that, I think, held until the 1970s when things changed.
in the 70s, there was, a first major uprising, and, the Israeli Black Panthers, and there's, the really famous quote by Golda, who met with a leader and said, they are not
very nice.
Yeah, they're not very nice. So, yeah, that happened, and we're seeing, the issue resurrected. We also have a term for that, right?
Yeah, the ethnic demon.
The ethnic demon. Sometimes it's called the ethnic divide. But I do think, though, that this is actually a point where the discourse is limiting, because I do think that as long as we're thinking of that as Mizrahi versus Ashkenazi, we're still finding ourselves speaking from within the very Western dichotomy.
So I guess we can just hope that Ron Kachlili's series is a step in the right direction.
I think it is.
Thank you, Amalia.
Thank you, Oded.
Thank you at home for joining us as well. Please do so again tomorrow. We'll be right here.